What's up, YouTube? Welcome back, welcome back. Gonna be doing probably the final 1 hour here at Orcs. Gonna be using 20,000 Agris as well. Alright, go ahead and get all my buffs here real quick. Aha, okay, here's the seals. Oh yeah, classic outfit box. Nice. Alright, well, that's pretty easy. I think I need to get a few more beast routes here. Beast route. Oh, that spelled it wrong. Okie dokie. Beast. Maybe I should just do beast. Hey, what would you know? All right, let me go ahead and just pull those over. All right, so go ahead and get my pets out. Need some more feed. Okay. All right, let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, and then firm. Okay. All right. I think we're good to go on this end. Let me go ahead and keep playing
So like
this.
the Terminate event was my favorite event of the year because I got to watch all of the monkeys run around the world of BDO trying to desperately complete these quests to try to be the first one to the finish line, like Ready Player One. You know what I mean? It was just so cool to me. Um, I just absolutely love
Ready
that, and I just
Player
don't feel
One.
like we see events on that scale anymore. Like we did the Sea
No.
Palace, but like I don't really see the engagement coming out of events that aren't Mysteries of Summer. If they brought Mysteries of Summer back, I think it would be the biggest hit that it had ever been. I think we just scared them away.
I don't know how I forgot this. I'm thinking of BDO events as like things that they do and then all players participate. But do you guys remember the I don't remember what it was called, but it was basically like the players D&D adventure with the GMs. That it was like me and Huntler. He was Kalia, and we had to go and party up with like
I
and do all
remember
these
that, yeah.
challenges. Remember, it was like 10 different trials. We had to run around the world and do these random things, and at the end, we had to fight Divios with like with AP, DP, Blackstones, and all that stuff. I don't know
Lol.
if that's considered the same style of event, but
That was
they
cool.
did a few of those. That was one of the coolest. As a participant, it was one of the coolest things I think I've ever done in BDO. Probably my most memorable moment was
Much more
doing
like
that.
community focused events, you know.
Yeah, because like and we're
Engagement.
fighting to to get these codes. There's like 5 different streamers, and then the Black Spirit channel or the Black Desert channel is also doing it, and they're like going between them on their stream. Like if you watch the VOD, it's literally like them highlighting the different streams, and then there's like a voice changer guy who's doing the challenges, and it's like
Yeah.
it was incredible. It was so cool, and like I played really hard to. Yeah, yes. And doing all the puzzles, like you were unlocking like different codes for people as you kept going along. Like, and it wasn't one of those where it's like, oh, you're unlocking the codes, but we'll give them at the end anyways. No, this was real. Like all the codes, they didn't give you the code if you didn't unlock it. Like, it was crazy.
We were in one too, with Sakrakia.
Oh yeah, we did yep.
Yeah, we did that one with
we did that one as well. There's so many of those cool moments that are absolute 10 out of 10, and I know I talked to some of the GMs and CMs about like how hard they had to do to work on that event. It took a ton of effort and time to even get everything to that point. That would be amazing to do something like that again. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, so events are not super different than content creation. In that you really want community engagement. You're looking for engagement, right? If a YouTube video is going to succeed, it's because the YouTube video got a lot of comments, got a lot of likes, right? You want video engagement. You don't want just people to just see the video. You want them to have a reaction and get involved with the video. In the exact same way, you really want to make events that people are going to get involved with. It's not just the ones that necessarily just to have you logging in and collecting rewards. Those are great. You're always going to have those, right? Those videos exist. But like the real events, the ones that stick with us, the ones that we should see for the anniversary event are the ones that kind of want us to get involved, right? Not necessarily require us to get involved, but like you really want us to get like to go out and have engagement. You know what I mean? Like I would love if they would just, this is just spitballing. And again, I'm going to use the ocean as like an example, but if the GMs just like got on their GM boat and started sailing around and the community had to try and sink them.
That'd be cool.
Would be a super, super fun event.
Yeah.
It would get everyone to come out. Well, I'd be out there on my advance. You know what I mean? I would be making content off of it. Like people would come out and watch that. Even if you're not like a boat person, it'd
be cool to watch. Yeah.
That, right? If it is on the main channel or even if it's on my channel or whatever, like people would come out to that event. You know what I mean? Or you could choose to like try to side with the GMs. Like if you're on the GM boat trying to keep it alive, you know what I mean? Like you could get a certain reward if the GMs stay alive for a certain amount of time, right? Like again, you can get people to come out and interact with you through any number of means and fun ways. And that, as crazy as it sounds, is actually a PvP event. Like that's like a boat PvP event. That's crazy. That's outside the box thinking. I might do a similar event on my stream, where like I just sail around on my advance and just try to run from people. I think that would be fun, right? Like it would make people feel like pirates. Also, they wouldn't feel bad for sinking me. It is what it is. But like, okay, all right. I think we've talked a lot. Anything else to add, kind of about the anniversary events and stuff like that? Again, I feel like it's kind of crazy that I'm the only one that like had an anniversary event that I really like truly liked more than the others. That's crazy to me. You guys don't remember anything.
It's just one of those things that's been around a block. You just kind of forget things, you know.
That's insane, bro. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about
What's the next thing?
Is kind of semi-related.
What is it? What is it? What is it?
AFK activities in BDO. I was talking about this on
AFK
stream
activities. All
I
right.
don't even AFK anymore because I don't feel like there's anything. I used to AFK.
Yeah, I don't AFK either.
I won't.
I've never
start
really
at the
AFK'd
beginning
though.
of time, but like recently, I've been AFKing. Basically just to get life skills up on alternate characters, so I could have 20-second tap time. Well, now the event is basically now like all the life skills are going to be merged. So like, why do I care anymore? You know what I mean? Like, so like, I don't really feel like there's a reason um to really like AFK on my account at like the now on EU. There's a reason for me to AFK. So usually if I'm gonna AFK, I'll just go over to EU and I'll AFK over there. But like I'm curious, Jay? Are you still on the dummy?
I mostly have been doing overnight horse training because it's just like really easy to set up.
Yeah.
And it was like a really good way for me to just passively get T10 materials because they also recently increased the chance of getting Imperial Steeds, which if you get one, you basically get a free tap on your T10.
Yes.
And yeah, for a while I did used to do dummy training because, but I stopped mostly after 66 because it doesn't really matter after
Yeah.
that point for the most part. Do we
66,
count
dude.
like
That's
semi
nuts.
AFK stuff like bartering? And if so, then that's what I've been doing lately. Just passively over time.
Oh, no, you can't really count bartering. You can't really count bartering because it's not like an AFK activity that you can do like all the time, right?
Like you're going to sleep and you're setting this up.
Yeah, right.
I see.
That kind of thing. Blonde, what do you do?
Like complete AFK. Okay.
Yeah. I used to do fishing for a very long time. And then what I've been doing now more than ever is horse training for the horses. You know, you do the horse training, and like Jay said, they
Horse
recently
trading.
changed the imperial thing, so it's really really nice now. Where if you're breeding like 2 tier 8s at level 30, they're gonna like have a double, like it's like a 4% 5% chance I think now to have like a imperial steed. I was just doing that. It's nice money. It's nice money. You get a bunch of the things, and you know, tapping the T10s. I feel like it's just one of the most worthwhile ones because if you just go tame a horse, train it, sell it, like you're making a little bit of money. And if you do it with the wagons, it's even better. And then if you have like you know, it's crazy if you
All fair
balance those around
points.
the events where you save all your horses, wait for one of those events where you get the materials from turning them in, and you load all your storages full of horses. You could be like kind of rolling in the dough for those events. But that's all I've really been doing. Yeah, that's my main thing right now.
Yeah, I mean, like
I remember. Sorry, go ahead. Go.
Yeah, no, I AFK. So when I started the game, obviously I AFK fished, but this evolved very quickly. Then I went to AFK processing because I felt like it was more money.
Yeah.
But back then, it was significant amounts of money.
Yeah, processing was pretty good.
AFK overnight, you could literally make like 6 to 10 million silver. That was insane.
Which is so crazy to think.
You know what I mean? that was nuts.
back then that was crazy.
That was like an hour to an hour and a half of grind worth of money. Nowadays, if I could AFK for like 1 billion silver a night,
I would do it.
Yeah, I would be AFKing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's
I would do it.
essentially what it was like. That's how crazy the inflation has been, by the way. You know what I mean? that's nuts.
Yeah.
To even think about. But like, I just don't feel like AFK like life skills are even like super worth doing anymore for like really late game players. For like early and mid game players, sure they're moderately engaging because like you're trying to develop your life skills. To be honest with you, all that you're really doing is like, okay, I need to get AFK horse trained so I can get my T10 attempts, or I'm trying to get my horse training up, or like, you know, my process isn't where I want it to be, or whatever. Like, okay, well then I can see it. But like once you've got all that stuff done, or you're at the level, like you know, being on a dummy is something that a lot of people will go do. But like once you reach a certain level, it's just not worth it to do that very much anymore either.
Yeah, so I think that the designs could be better. Like the way we currently have it is like, yeah, you're doing it like back in the day, it was life skilling for leveling up your life skills, but also money. But I think that I personally really like the way that horse training is. I feel like more life skills should be, the AFK ones at least, should be like horse training where yeah, you're kind of making some money, so it's like kind of worth your time, but you're also leveling up your skill, but you're also getting all these supplemental materials too between the dailies, and this is obviously just for the T10, which is related to training, but you're getting like fern roots and you're getting all these supplemental things, and then you're also like getting a chance to do like it's like an event in an event in an event for the life skill where you're getting like the mythical breeds or whatever, the special ones, the imperial ones, where you can get the 10 feathers and all these other materials. I think that they could do something where they make more life skills similar to that. I don't know how essentially, but like with that, I'm just collecting all these materials and then I'm going to go for a big tap at the end of the week or the end of the month or whatever. And I'm getting all these secondary side materials. And I think that's a really good way to design these skills that like you're AFK and it's not just about silver anymore. I think it's about the materials and the collection of certain things, or getting these attempts. Because farming is similar to that too. I know farming isn't 100% AFK, but it's like a 4 hours go away, come back in 4 hours kind of thing, if depending on your breed times. But farming is also I literally. So go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just
I was
gonna
gonna say, should we? Okay, you go first. You go first. Ladies first. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I breed specifically for specific fruits, and you can do different things for different fruits, and you also get the other materials that you turn in for contribution or whatever. So I think they do a good job with farming, sort of like that. But it could be with the Pitapat mole, you have that. And there's also some other stuff you can get. I think they do a good job with that, and I'd like to see that more. Sorry, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, should we maybe have forms of like AFK life skilling, like horse training, for other life skills?
I would
Such
like that.
as like hunting, like an AFK version of hunting, AFK version of farming, AFK version of this or that and this.
You like doing aim training or something on your hunter?
And then it could work towards the things you mentioned, right? Like XP, a little bit of materials here and there, and then there would be more options of AFK. Because I do think right now we are limited on the options of AFK stuff, right? I also remember someone mentioning in my chat that BDO Mobile has this sort of like family account content where you can use or send your alts to do certain content.
It's freaking
and
awesome.
I looked into a
Dude,
system.
Blonde is so all about
called like
BDO Mobile. He
and
loves it.
it's kind
It
of
is
like this
it is a
family
pretty good game
dungeon.
though.
You pick some of your alts to clear it in this like tower defense style mechanic, and maybe like a similar system using your alts could work. Maybe we could also incorporate, let's say, a node worker style system. Like, what if we could send an alt to a grind zone or something, and periodically it would maybe acquire loot there. Like it would be like an overnight thing, right? You and your alts, you're going on an adventure, AFK to Stars End or something. Maybe you bring back a disto overnight or something like that, and I think with BDO also is continually adding new regions and new nodes, and the node system is kind of fairly outdated, right? With there's so many useless nodes that have zero purpose, and maybe this could be a way to like repurpose them.
Yeah,
we could even expand it further. I just thought that for like the other life skills too. Like, hey, this is a cooking node, right? I could send myself to this, like, I don't know, cooking node or this farm node or this process node with my alts, and then we could, I don't know, do stuff to do those AFK activities that I just mentioned. Like for farming, you get farming XP and stuff like that, and this would be a way to do it through.
Yeah, no copium. I think that BDO Mobile has a lot of really cool mini game activities that BDO could use a lot from. I know we always talk about like there's people that mention that like grinding is like a means to an end, so it's not really content per se to get your gear and all that. And then like, what do you do with it? A lot of people want more, and I feel like BDO Mobile has those little activities that, like, if we could just get just something to do, like a little bit here, a little bit there, I think that there's a lot of potential. And they're working on it, right? They got the boss buzz is kind of one of those things. The group boss buzz is going to be cool. The new guild activities. I think that would be really cool if we had more stuff like that.
I think that trying to bring almost any aspect of BDO Mobile into the real game is probably a recipe for disaster.
Well, they're just cool modes to collect random things in mini games. Yeah, you think like, those are like those in essence are a problem?
Like, well, the AFK stuff. Most of the mobile game is basically
like
AFK. Like you
I
can't
don't like that stuff.
You can't really give people AFK rewards for like grinding or like send your. I don't know. Jay thought the idea of sending your character on an adventure while you're AFK is super cool, but here's the deal. They tried that in Throne and Liberty when it first came out. It was not well received. Where you could just sit there and let your character basically grind. Now, it's not necessarily on the same scale. I don't think that we should necessarily be rewarding people for AFK grinding, right? Like, I would love to see the AFK life skills buffed in such a way that I want to log in and do them. Not necessarily because I have to, but because, I have some sort of long-term progress that I'm reaching or like working towards, right? Like, hey, if you get guru fishing, you can try to fish for these like there are super rare fish in the game or something, but like I don't know. They'd have to buff like in buffing AFK life skills, you could also buff normal life skills as well. Like if you're a higher level fishing, you get to have better like active fishing, right? But then they'd have to buff active fishing. They did have systems like this in the past where like you can see more fishing hotspots because you're higher fishing level, but like they'd need to seriously buff it if it's going to be relevant at all nowadays.
I meant the active mini games in mobile. The AFK things, like, yeah, because in mobile they have like AFK grinding, AFK gathering. Like, they could innovate. I mean, and it doesn't have to be necessarily AFK. We talked about in the when we were talking about
I don't know if I'll make it.
stuff.
My goodness.
But I think that there is a system
So I have
for it.
what,
And we could do it,
45 more minutes?
and more of that stuff is good. Just not the
Be rough,
obviously the
rough
AFK
45
stuff. I feel
minutes.
like they can add stuff to it similar to the horse system, but I don't think that's it shouldn't be a priority or anything. I think that we can the thing we're actually actively doing should be the main thing, right? And everything else is supplemental. I mean, people do actively horse train too. As much as people would see it as a AFK activity, and some people do active fish too. But
yeah, I mean, like I really do think that like AFK activities need to be buffed so that you want to do them and they feel meaningful. You don't necessarily have to buff the silver, but like give us some sort of long-term progression that we can work towards for being AFK all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like right now, I don't feel like it's even worth turning my computer on. Like it's literally just that simple. It's not worth the electricity I'm going to spend.
Yeah, I mean, making it optional is kind of important too, though, right? Like, we don't want to force everybody to feel like they have to. It's one of those things that, if it's designed well, it could be like a complementary thing to whatever we're working on too.
Right. Okay. Well, let's move right along because we talked for a lot of time about those two topics there. I do want to touch on the fact that we're going to be getting central servers.
Central servers.
Kind of a big deal for us. Currently,
Wait,
the servers for
what?
Black Desert are located in Los Angeles.
We're legit in
California.
central servers? No
and
way.
I think that this is one of the large things that kind of contributes to lag in a lot of cases and desync because, like,
We're actually getting central servers? No freaking way.
The poor people that live on the East Coast have been suffering in every game that they play because for some reason
everyone wants to serve on the West.
Tried to buy servers initially in Los Angeles. Like,
makes no
everybody
sense.
wants to go have servers, and then slowly
literally
but
makes no
surely we're
sense.
seeing more and more developers and publishers move their servers.
Yeah,
because
there's more
centralized location.
Yeah,
for
makes
North America.
Makes more sense.
Do you guys feel like there's going to be like? Can I ask you guys? Do you live like West Coast,
East Coast,
Midwest, or like East Coast?
East Coast.
Florida
West side.
So you live West Side, okay? And then like Blonde, do you live West Side too?
Florida man.
Oh, so you're an East Coaster. Yeah. I'm in the Midwest. I'm basically sitting on where the servers are basically going to be anyway, so we're good.
Oh, lucky you.
Obviously, it's huge for me. This is a big W. But like,
lucky you.
Do you feel like this is going to fix a lot of the lag problems and desync issues that we have, or do you feel like it's going to be more of the same stuff, but like people are just going to have slightly different ping now?
I know they were talking about doing central servers, but
I don't think I
didn't know if they were going to follow through with it.
I've used like a VPN or anything to tell the difference. I'm sure I would notice the difference if I played, like, for example, if I have ping issues on League of Legends, I noticed that.
Yeah,
but,
Call of Duty.
I don't know. Back in the day, BDO felt laggy, and then some updates came and it felt better. My PC got better, so it felt better. So I don't know. From the PvPers I've talked to, they said it does feel crisp and it does feel really good, and they are looking forward to it. But as a PvEer, I think the only people that are really, really affected are like people in EU that are playing NA, or the people that are Australian playing in NA. I feel like I don't really notice it that much, but if I PvP'd a lot more, I probably would be someone who'd be like, oh, okay, like, this is a big deal to me. So
yeah, I mean, like, did you guys get to participate in like the global tests, like the global server test?
I did not.
I did not. Of course you didn't. You're not PvPers. Who are we kidding?
There it is.
Who are we kidding? They did put out a ping in our partner. They were like, hey, guys, we want you to try to get involved. I go, hey, Barcode, you guys want to go do this? And they were like, no, we're all West Coast. Are you crazy? We don't we don't want central servers. You're crazy right now.
Of course not.
I sadly did not get to participate in it. I really did want to, but I find it interesting that the server just crashed during Medea Siege.
Lol.
That was pretty crazy.
Like right after we won. And so we didn't, like, obviously the siege basically never concluded. And that's a little ridiculous, but like, I don't know. Like, I'm not entirely certain why. I don't know if it's because they stopped maintenance or it's very suspicious to me that they went and did basically a global lab test of the new central servers. and then the main servers crash on the same day. That's very scary to me. So like I don't know if it's because they like stopped maintenance on the main servers or something. I assume that they're connected somehow, but like it was scary to me that that happened. I am very excited for centralized servers. I do think it's a start. I think that it will help with desync and lag issues, but I also think that that's not the only thing that needs to be done. I think that if they give us centralized servers and they give us specific Node War and Siege servers, just like they do for War of the Roses, I think that our lag issues kind of start to vaporize. There's always going to be like lag issues and stuff in BDO. That's always going to be there. But like in every game, you're going to have that based on hardware. But like I think that they would minimize it completely if they basically made like the custom servers for Node Wars. Keep in mind there'd have to be one for Balanos one, Serendia one, Calpheon. Honestly, even if they just took away all of the one servers and made them just the Node Wars servers, like I think that we would all just pile into the other servers, and it would be fine. But like I think that those.
It's more,
okay, go ahead.
Isn't it more of an issue on the servers like the C servers? Don't they have like I don't know 8 servers or something? And we have like 30 plus, and so there might be an issue for them.
Yeah, so I mean, we're like, obviously we have more servers than they do, but we also have more people playing. I think in North America, like a significant amount more people playing in NA. EU might have the biggest population. I'm not sure. I play on both. It's probably pretty close.
EU is pretty is that
like
big?
Based on the orders I see for stuff, but like I'd probably give it to EU if I had to guess. But like they've never told us who like has the most players. But I'd like to think it was NA, but pretty sure it's EU.
Usually our numbers look pretty similar when we're looking at like how many of XYZ items been grinded, how many this has been tapped. Every time they do one of those, it's pretty close, but it does sometimes feel like EU has more, and maybe it's just we don't see it on the low end.
I mean, every time someone in my chat asks me about, oh, how much is this item? How much are your doubles now? Oh, we're still around like 80 bill, and they're like, oh, we're down to like 65, and then so I feel like there's just more people.
I think EU's always just been ahead of the meta, and he's always late to the meta. It seems.
Are we?
They're just smarter than us. We're the stupid people that belligerently throw money at the screen. They actually understand the game. Yeah, that's basically how this works. Swear we're better at PvP though. On God, they're better at recognizing trends and stuff. They have way more life skillers than we do. EU has way more life skills, or like life skillers in general. Like I'm not sure if their PvP scene is quite as big as ours either, but like I think overall, EU seems like it's a little bit more active.
So I wanted to add also to ask you to explain like what desync is, because I think there's a lot of new players also coming into BDO and they don't know what desync means in the first place. Can you explain that?
What's it mean? What's desync mean?
Absolutely, Kim.
Inform me.
I can explain that to you.
Inform me.
So
not to me, but
yeah. His name was Jay. Your name is Jay. Coincidence? I think not. Okay. So yeah, for the I do this all the time, Jay. For the other people, not me, but for other people, can you explain it so that they know, and then we'll all know what desync is. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Desync. All desync means is that something was happening on your screen, and something different was happening on someone else's screen. So usually, when people refer to desync, it has to do with grabs, or a CC of some kind. So like on my
usually
screen,
it's EC.
I was in iframe before you got the grab off, right? Like, and on your screen, you
got the grab.
grabbed me.
Yep.
And then like I just blinked away from you, and you were like, "What the hell? I got the grab." Right? Like so, like that's desync. So like, I think that we see that decrease a little bit. A lot of that symptom, I think, is ping. In a lot of cases, because if you have a player with like 100 or 200 ping, and then you have a player with like 1 ping. Obviously, the things happening on their screens are going to be delayed and different, and it's going to look different. And then the way the server kind of interacts with players with different ping is very strange in BDO. It's not consistent at all, and that's why people call it desync. Like sometimes the grab will go through, and other times the iframe will go through. Really, it just matters that you're just objectively the better player. You won the 50-50. Congratulations.
Which classes do you think benefit or like get the most out of desync? You know what I mean?
iframe classes generally get the biggest benefit out of desync. Grab classes would say that they benefit the least from desync. But I'll argue that grab classes also benefit from desync, and they also don't benefit from desync. Like grab
goes both ways.
Yeah, it goes both ways. So like anybody that's a grab class that says, "Oh, desync is just such a bad thing for my class." Well, it works in your favor half the time, and then it works against you half the time. But the classes that deal with it are the most, and like the matchups that deal with it the most, are the grab classes into the iframe classes, like Sork, like Dark Knight.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like where you're just constantly blinking around all over the place.
I remember Danny was talking about I think also Choice was talking about like how Zerker, they have this like one ability where you're like jumping around, and if you're like using mouse to move, you cannot like predict on the other person's end where they are actually at because how wonky that ability is. I can't. What is that ability called, anyways? Blonde, you should know. You're a Zerker.
Yeah, Blonde.
It's
Yeah,
the one where you
Blonde.
jump
Come on, man.
Predatory Hunt.
Is that what it is? Oh,
Yes, it's SF. Predatory Hunt. Sorry, I had to. I got like frenzied destruction class.
Are you reading your skills?
No, I was in my head, my photographic. I was like rolling through the Rolodex of like all the abilities.
You have literally been playing since launch, and you've been playing Berserker since launch, and this dude actually had to open the skill menu to check.
I press the buttons. I don't read the buttons.
You don't read good. It is a Zerker problem. It do be what it.
Should they maybe remove, like, sort of not have that? I feel like they're going away from that direction with the newer classes. They haven't really been implementing very many like.
I don't think they're going to change old stuff. I think they're just going to make new stuff that's not that.
I think they are. They announced already that they're trying to standardize PvP among all classes in terms of like they've already mentioned that they're looking into trying to cap FPS for people, so that higher FPS equals higher DPS. But like I don't think that there's like realistically a way for them to do that. But they have addressed the mouse move stuff before, and they said that they're thinking about moving in a direction of just removing it from the game.
Really, I thought they tried to do it and it broke a lot of classes. I mean, unless they're going to revamp things to make it.
Yeah, no, they'd have to revamp stuff.
I'm all for them doing that because
I think they should remove mouse to move. I really do.
It's very frustrating.
I think that the game has a high enough skill ceiling as it is that you can get. Like,
we don't need another one.
Yeah, there's no reason for a new player to have to learn how to mouse to move on top of everything else, or even like a veteran player, because there's already enough skill expression in everything else that you're doing.
That's true.
As like in combat, that oh my god.
Definitely.
It's a lot to it.
Definitely.
That like there's already enough skill expression with everything that you do in combat that you don't need to actually add mouse to move on top of it. So like
I completely agree.
Like I think that like if they just removed it and then they changed how some of the skills work so that like there's no more mouse to move on that skill. Although I'll be honest with you, they don't have to change too much. Like Zerker, you just can't mouse move that stupid little jump anymore where you rocket off the ground like Iron Man. Like you can't mouse move that anymore. You can't mouse move your stuff. You can't mouse move a frontal guard anymore. The way you're facing is the way your character is pointing, and that's just the way that it goes. You know what I mean?
And they've designed other classes like that, like Guardian, for example, like her forward like dash thing that she does, like you're stuck in that. You can kind of turn your screen for some of those abilities, but I think they've definitely tried for every new class to set a standard. So I mean, yeah, it's entirely possible they rechange some things. I think obviously players will be upset though.
No, but, I mean, like some players would be upset, but like, I mean, we would get over it because I mean, Zerkers can't read anyway, so they're not even really going to realize that it happened.
That's very true.
What about I know there's like certain abilities where, like for example, which equilibrium break, when you mouse to move the equilibrium, you can move the forward guard around.
Sometimes it moves, and then other times the damage will move, but the frontal guard is like 50-50. It moves or it doesn't. And I'll be honest with you, I think it's I don't think it's actually moving. I think you're resisting it sometimes. Like, so like I've tried to move it. I've tried to move that frontal guard around, and it does move the skill. Like Gore will come out of the ground in a different area, but like I can still get knocked over. So like I don't know whether or not it's moving, and like I would rather them just remove it altogether, to be honest. Like, some classes have it, some classes don't. I don't think that is really particularly all that fair. And again, the skill expression is already high enough in the game as it is. So like, I don't really feel like mouse to move is required or wanted in most cases. But okay. Anything else you guys wanted to talk about today? I mean, we kind of
Is
like
that it?
rolled straight through it today. I don't even think we got to all the rest of the topics. It's okay. We'll use them for next week.
There is one from the topic thing I wanted to do.
Okay, hit me.
Go ahead. Yeah.
What is each of yours biggest RNG carried moment in the game, or your worst RNG moment in the game?
Okay.
Oh.
I like that question, so wanted to know.
I mean, I think for me, it would probably be one tapping my Pendeba belt. That was like the first sort of lottery moment I've had in Black Desert in the 5 years of playing. So it would be that. And as for like worst RNG moment, it's probably a tie between my Dine, which was like 75 attempts pre and post fail stacks, or my Dawns, which was like 71 attempts on a 250.
71 attempts.
Okay. Blonde.
Wow.
No, you go ahead. I'll go last.
No, Blonde. I insist.
No, I don't think you want.
I'm getting the support ticket ready.
We already know what it is.
Yeah, we already know what it is. Just tell him, Blonde.
Wait. What do you guys think it is?
I don't know. Which
like
demo did we want to bring up? Yeah, which Black Star did we want to bring up? Like, is this a joke? So obviously it's the fact that you one-tapped all 3 pen demos, and then obviously the least carried moment is the fact that you're
You
still
one-tapped
grinding for your
all
merchant ring
pinned.
'cause
What?
you're a loser.
Wait.
That's crazy.
Wait. I didn't one tap them.
If he's 3 out of 6,
all.
I
3 for 6.
I one tapped it, then I
3
2 tapped
for
it, then I 3
6.
tapped it.
Wow.
It's got a rhythm to it.
There's a difference.
There's a difference.
Yeah. And then your least RNG carried moment?
Yeah, it's probably the merchant ring.
Mm-hmm.
It's well deserved at this point, I think.
Based. I think that my most carried moment in the game was I hit a duo Manos chess piece in 1 click.
Ooh, wow. Duo?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Duo?
That was pretty carried. It immediately failed try, but you know what? It
What?
didn't take 44 clicks to get to duo, and we take those wins. Like a real, and then I would say my least RNG carried moment in the game. I did spend 4 years in history of grinding for the Elton piece.
Good times.
And over 2,000 hours of
4
my time
years. Could you
grinding
imagine?
for my first Elton piece.
Holy cow, man.
So yeah, I would say that we've all been carried, and we were all carried equally. But realistically, I think my most carried moment was the second Elton piece. I got like 2 hours into Decia Histria, but that means that my average for the Elton piece is still over 1,000 hours a piece. You know what I mean? Like, so like I still don't really consider it particularly carried. I haven't gotten my merchant ring piece. All of my horse attempts have been roughly average. Gosh, dude, I'm trying to think. My blacks, I've been kind of an average player. All of my RNG is kind of averaged out over the years. Like, I get really lately though, like the last 6 months or so, I've been kind of super unlucky. I've been farming L's basically for the last 6 months. But it's not to say I haven't been lucky in my BDO career. I've never one-tapped a Pen Devil or anything. I never one-tapped a T10 horse. I never one-tapped my Black Stars. I never one-tapped my pens, like armors or weapons. So, like, I think, okay. All right, I got it. I remember a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, before I was a streamer, before I was in a PvX guild, and this was probably a year and a half into the game. So keep in mind, pen accessories did not exist in 2018. Okay. They did not exist at all. And I was a degenerate. Okay. The way I chose to do things is I would get everything on my gear wheel to Tet, and then I would roulette it all the way down to Pry. All of it. All 7 pieces. You're just throwing it in, right? Like, I would just throw everything in. I would just roulette it all down to Pry with 1 durability. I would go back to Desert Fogans, and we would go again. You know what I mean? Like, I would put it all back to Tet, and I would do it again. Well, eventually, I got to like a 220 stack, which was unheard of back then. That was crazy high. And I got so mad that I said, I'm throwing in my accessories, and I had just gotten like I had 4 TED accessories. Like I was at like basically, no, I had 3. I had 3. And that was pretty good for back then. So I just said, screw it. I threw them in. Boom, fail. Boom, fail. The Ruins ring hit pen. Bam, straight to pen. I had a pen Ruins ring. It was I was guaranteed one of the very first pen Ruins rings on the whole server.
Oh,
that was awesome. The most carried I've ever been, and I still have that Ruins ring. It's on my. It's still on my character. I've never gotten rid of it. Like just super cool moment, and like yeah, that was definitely the most carried I've ever been. And then I failed
like
the next
highest. Go ahead.
I failed the next like 25 pen attempts in a row, so
Rip.
it evened out. I'm not joking. It was crazy. It went hard, but like you know what? We got the Ruins, so.
We got the Ruins, baby.
I was gonna say, I feel like the highest stack I saw like way back when was this clip of Jules.
Yes,
yeah,
Jules.
Everybody remembers Jules.
It was like a 320 stack or something.
Jeez.
And he was going for Pen Zarka.
I think I do remember that.
Deleting crons from his freaking inventory because he doesn't believe in cron. Oh man.
Oh, how times have changed.
Yep.
If you brought that clip up now and other EU players saw him throwing away crons, he would be hunted. Like, on God, bro. No. But yeah, no, like I think that yeah, it's my favorite. I will say, for what it's worth, my least RNG carried moment being in history for that long, it did account for the second best moment that I've ever had in BDO, which was actually getting the Elton piece. Which was funny because I got it on stream in front of like 200 people and nobody said a word because I was talking to chat. I didn't even see. I didn't even see me get it. Yeah. I didn't even know that I got it. It took somebody whispering me. They were
dumped water all over yourself and then you broke your gear.
Well, the worst part was 200 people are literally watching me get the piece. They know I've been grinding for 4 years and they were willing to let me go for another 4. No one said anything. It was brutal, man. Like, it took somebody whispering me that was like, hey, man, did you just get the Elton piece? I was like, no, that was some, like, imposter account. It was definitely not me. Because, like, people have made those, like, Blue Squadron with a capital I or whatever, you know? But, like, nope, that was it, bro.
Or Blue Dragon.
Yeah, okay. You don't make... I'll put that raccoon down. You think I won't?
No.
I'll find it. I'll find it.
No.
Okay, let's do all right. Let's do closing thoughts here. And then we'll get over to the dungeon part of
it. Good episode. Good episode.
We'll do Jay first before we'll do Blonde first this time.
Okay.
Closing thoughts. You know, BDO's been around for 8 years. I'm hoping for another 8. That'd be really awesome.
That'd be crazy. Another 8 years.
Improvement, but the game has something special about it since it's been going on for so long, and it still has a very lively community.
Yeah.
As much as, you know, you'll see people saying, "Oh, that game." The game has a lot of players playing.
Oh yeah.
Not everybody's a Twitch or YouTube person. Not everybody's, you know, into that stuff. But I met plenty of people at the Oasis event that are just gamers who you know, barely knew some of the content creators, but they love this game, and you know, it's awesome. I hope it continues. I hope they keep improving. I hope the quality of life keeps improving. It'd be really awesome. So I'm all for it. You can catch me at twitch.tv/Bombay where I play video.
What? Play video every day.
And Jay?
Closing thoughts is that happy 8th anniversary. And we want you guys to tell us your most lucky and unlucky moments in the comments below.
Yes.
And I'm Jaycoon, it's Lil J. You can find us over at twitch.tv/JaycoonVTV before the T.
Right on. Yeah, Jay, look at you going for that engagement, Jay.
Engagement.
What it means in your feed and what you want to enjoy, and I'm going to do the same. But beyond that,
all right, another
been
podcast
a lot of interesting
here.
Talk. Y'all had some, like I said, very profound things to say, and we're going to dive into those. In fact, I think the last comment that I actually have in today's video literally is mind-blowing. You could treat this video series, the comment section, as a podcast. In fact, that's how we have it labeled here on YouTube. So hopefully you enjoy the audio experience, but if you stick around, you'll also see me highlighting the comments here on screen. If you want your comments, you know, featured in videos, be sure to leave them in the comments below. That's the whole discussion. I believe that This is the best part of content creation. Getting to talk about my thoughts and then getting to hear your thoughts and highlighting your thoughts for other people as well. So that way, hopefully, I can elevate you guys and we can all, in a way, grow together and have these great gaming discussions. But we're going to start with something serious, a very serious kind of accusation. And I think I want to start with that, namely because I think we can get it out of the way and then we can move on to the fun. And the reason ends up being is that I think this in and of itself really frustrates me personally, because if you can repeat after me that the Salem witch trials were a bad idea, then we can start to understand it. But When Is Dinner writes, Reforged is a PlayStation fanboy and a sex offender. Now, the PlayStation fanboy, I get. I would classify him as 75 or 70% PlayStation fanboy, 30% just like really wanting games for everybody. But you got to understand content creation is about leaning into that echo chamber, because that's how the algorithm and the audience wants it. Is this a good thing? No. Do we need to work on it? Yes. But I don't care if someone's a PlayStation fanboy or an Xbox fanboy. The console wars in and of themselves, when they're not taken too seriously, are a great form of entertainment and discussion. But that's just how I get entertainment on Twitter. In this case, though, let's talk about the serious offense here, which is the sex offender accusation. Was he accused? Yeah. But then when you actually go and look at the evidence, there's nothing there. And the reason why you can say there's also nothing there is, why is he not in jail? Where were the police? Where was all these other things? And I'm not trying to say we're doing some whereaboutisms. I'm just trying to summarize a long history, which a lot of people haven't had the time to spend to fully understand. The Salem witch trials were a bad idea. Accusing somebody something online doesn't mean that they're guilty. However, in a weird twist of fate, being human and saying sorry that I didn't mean to make you feel uncomfortable ends up being and then taking to validate the worst of claims. Then you look into the people who are making the accusations, and those were people who were actively competing with him over on Twitch, who were then married to developers within the game that he played. It is more suspect. I'm not going to go full conspiracy theorist here, but when you actually look at the evidence, I don't come down on that he, is a sex offender. I come down on is that he made a bad business mistake and he cost him dearly for it. Getting canceled is not fun. And I reached out to him personally and apologized to him because I quietly canceled him. I will never do that again to anybody. If anybody's getting quote unquote canceled online or the new thing is quiet canceling. So I know things evolve really quickly in the internet space. But if anybody's getting canceled, I'm going to do a deeper dive into what is being said and why it's being said and what their motivations are. So, yeah, he's not a sex offender, guys, because that would be a serious crime, and there's no evidence of that. So stating that and continuing to reinforce that mindset, I think, is a very dangerous and unfortunate thing. But that's the serious talk. You guys can make up your own minds. I'd encourage you to check out Upper Echelon's reporting on this subject, as he gives a lot more detail. I think probably from the most unbiased source, but you can make up your own minds. Again, there's the information. But let's dive into more of the fun discussion around what you guys had to say. All right, let's kick this off with ETU187 says top tier next gen isn't the same as a top tier game. You muddy the waters, which is taking that comment out of context. Frankly, 30 frames per second on a next-gen console that was claimed to be the strongest console game in the world is not next-gen. So this is an interesting kind of piece, because I don't like the fact that the Xbox Series X is 30 frames per second on some of these games. I think that's atrocious.
It's pretty bad. Pretty bad.
As an engineer, as a professional, especially a software engineer, we're running into a problem that gamers have with the current state of console gaming. And it's the aspect of the engineering,
or not the software, but the
which can be done. Could they make a console
might be software,
that
but
easily crushed out
or
60
the parts
or
of it.
90 frames per second or 120 frames
The
per
cost.
second, which some of the games on Series X do? Could they do that? Yes.
Hardware. That's it.
But then you
hardware,
get met
software.
right up against that wall of the
Probably a mixture of
economic
both.
cost of it. Now, I have a 3080 in my PC. I have 64 gigs of RAM. I invested, I think, roughly
a lot of money.
$4,000 to $5,000 into a gaming PC. My Xbox Series X cost me $500. And I think what we're seeing here, though,
Yeah,
is
hardware.
in a way, console gaming, in terms of the scale and scope and like every step that we've seen along the way, hasn't really been able to scale because people aren't willing to accept higher prices. This will be solved by the cloud, by the way. All of a sudden, when you can sit here and just offload and put as much hard drive space as you need, all of these features into the cloud and stream the games to the gamer, there's so much more that you can do with your games, but there's still infrastructure and still a journey just to get into that future. That's not saying the physical hardware is going to go away. It's just going to say that the economics of it are going to change in a way that allow for bigger leaps that people haven't seen. But it's still a next-gen game. Saying that the Xbox Series X, the PlayStation 5, is not next-gen, I honestly can't get behind that. I just can't. Because it is next gen. It just is a bummer that we cannot, scale that game higher enough and get to that. Would I prefer 60? And then the counter argument people will come in is like, oh, 30 is fine. I don't hear anybody saying 30 is great, right? It's always 30 is fine, right? Like, do you want Coke? Oh, I'm sorry. Is Pepsi okay? Like, that's the equivalent of it. 30 frames per second is the Pepsi of the soda world. But I'm, at the end of the day, I'm a Dr. Pepper man. Dr. Pepper man is 120 frames per second. So that's what we're shooting for. That's our console frames per second soda wars that we've decided to step into. Let me know what your favorite soda is below. Now, as we go on, Angry Cosmonaut says, no one cares about your amount of likes your video gets. Say your thoughts succinctly. I wouldn't upload a video on a topic and then talk about some of the awesome food that I was in a restaurant for 5 minutes first. Respect to your audience's time. I really always try to respect y'all's time, but the reality is that the call to action is one of the things I suck at, and when I do it, y'all subscribe. For example, just 2 days ago, we were 300 subs away from the 65,000 mark. Today, we've crossed over it, and then some. Thank you guys so much for subscribing to the channel. This is huge, and I really do appreciate it. I hope that you enjoy the content, and I'm looking forward to getting to know you better. That's how I've decided to take the call to actions so much, because it just is uncomfortable for me, because I probably get annoyed by other YouTubers by it if it wasn't so dadgum successful. Just like on the video that we're referencing, not a top tier game, I put out a challenge for 100 likes. You guys crushed it right now at the time of this recording, 536 likes. Now, I didn't put out a challenge on the problem with XQC versus H3H3 and the reaction content. That's sitting at a whopping 36 likes. If you guys would do me a favor, if you guys are interested in that discussion, that would be really great. It's linked in the description. Go give it a watch. Hit that like. Maybe we can get that to 100 likes. And then maybe for this video, because it's a comment section video, it's going to be on the longer end, more of a podcast. Let's just set this to 50 likes. Yes, it's less than the goal of the original, but no, I don't think that necessarily everybody from the original is going to rush over to watch this video. But prove me wrong, maybe. But I find that to be the best and most equitable form of the call to action. Now, let's not waste anybody's time, because that's never my goal. Let's dive back into y'all's comments. The Bang Me, I guess 6808, says, I still don't understand what next gen means. It's a jump in console generation or hardware improvements. Lastly, the graphics in games seem to have peaked. From my perspective, you can't improve on what's out now. This argument is like the indie studio releasing a game like Hollow Knight only on the PS5, Series X, and Series S at 4K 60 frames a second. Could that be considered next gen? Moreover, from my perspective, I've often found more depth and quality in games that don't boast impressive graphics. Lately, games with less realistic and more artistic styles draw me in, and then they tend to be timeless. The art style is really what does make a game timeless. When you go for that reality, that uncanny valley, if you don't know what that means, it's the gap between the artistic, this isn't really representative of the real world, to getting it to where it looks like the real world. Like that gap, the human brain and I will pick up the flaws, yeah, I can't even say the flaws. There we go. My AI is glitching out on me. Apologies. It will pick that up, and it will feel wrong. It will feel that uncanny valley. You'll feel it. It's uncomfortable. So what it means to be next gen, I think, is one of the key aspects. I know Lono keeps hitting on the Xbox Series S as kind of the thing that's holding gaming back, and that's just not it. It's an economic problem And it's an expectation problem. You know, like when we're expecting everything to be that, right? Because not everybody has the $4,000, $5,000 to invest in a gaming PC. That's
It's a
the
lot of
beauty
money.
of console gaming.
It's
But
more
console
affordable.
gaming isn't what is driving that next gen. In fact, one of the things that I feel is rubbing everybody against everybody is that what Xbox is doing is the right way. Play anywhere. Let people play their games however, wherever they want. PlayStation's still locking down to that exclusive mindset. It's a generational problem, one that the generation that's coming to replace us already understands, and because they're not interested in supporting it. They don't want to just have to have one piece of hardware that can only play this one piece of game. Why is that the way that it is when all the games that they're growing up on and playing and getting paid to stream and all of these things with their career gaming aspirations in quotes, none of that is exclusive. No one's building off a career based off of any PS5 exclusive or any Xbox exclusive. And I push back on the term Xbox exclusive because you can play them on PC, and that's more options to the players. Next gen, in a way, it is what it is right now. That, you know, the Xbox Series X, PS5 is next gen. We got better loading times. Yes, we had 4K, but that's the thing. Like the leaps haven't been able to jump up higher due to engineering and economic problems that have to be solved. And the solution is cloud, because not everybody's going to have the budget that I have for gaming, nor should they. But we don't want to exclude them because you need the volume of people to be purchasing these games at these prices for it to be sustainable. So that's really my professional opinion on it, is that when we see these things excel and grow, these are really good, really good questions. Now, Rolling Stone 2292 says Lono is a pony no matter how much he tries to say he's not. His points seem like they're rushed, and he doesn't put any effort and thoughts into his points. I'm going to push back on that. He's also in a live streaming environment. One of the things that, like, when he's doing his kind of well thought out, well written, scripted stuff, which is generally how he opens the show with the monologue, like those are, I think, very well thought out points. But I'm not going to fault him for being a live stream content creator because people like that, right? But you are going to get more of these takes that not necessarily are so refined, but that's the beauty of the VOD. That's the beauty of following it up as a part of the discussion. So that's just going to push back on that idea. The only reason people are saying stuff like this, him, because they're mad that it's not on PlayStation. In my mind, I don't care if it goes to PlayStation. Like, it would be, in my mind, if they just did it, if it was even a 2-year, right? I don't like people paying for things to keeping out of gamers' hands, right? So PlayStation could solve this problem by just allowing Game Pass to run on the PlayStation solution. You don't have to create another, SKU, another version of the game that can run on any kind of ecosystem. Again, like, this all comes back to that cloud is the solution, and PlayStation's moving that same direction. I'm very excited about having a PS5 in the cloud or the PS6 in the cloud, so it just works on my devices, right? I can just boot it up, whatever hardware I want to have, whatever controller scheme that I want to use. That is the flexibility in the future that I hope for. Now, what have happened? This would have happened if Skyrim was on PlayStation. Yes, people are going to use these exclusive games as kind of points as a part of the console war. Again, from the entertainment perspective, perfectly fine with it. But from the cultish religious perspective, that's where it goes too far. This guy just views garbage. Let's put it this way. I think Spider-Man 2 is complete garbage because it's the same map, and they're not doing anything new. The physics are half-baked. Clipping, none of these I said are a true Spider-Man 2, and I would likely be a great game, and that's the difference between Sony ponies and Xbox fans, is that we can at least admit to the game being good on another console, something that these boys are incapable of. Okay, pushing back again on some of this stuff. I really hope Spider-Man 2 is great. I haven't played the first one. I do own it on PC. I'm wanting to play it. I'm looking forward to Spider-Man 2. I like Spider-Man games. The same map, I mean, he's in New York. Some of these things seem like, it is a sequel. It is, the game's continuing to evolve and they're doing new things in it, but it's not going to be as revolutionary as what Spider-Man 1 was. It's almost a parallel to what the PS4 to the PS5 generation has been. We've gotten faster loading times, but it turns out that, an SSD on a PC also is doing the same kind of thing. So PC gamers have been living in that kind of, premier spot. We also don't know if Starfield is good. Now, it is a top shelf
Right.
game. That's where I'm, and I would say top shelf next gen game.
Come on, stay awake, stay awake.
Just because
Almost
it doesn't
done.
do 60 frames a second on the console, I don't think takes it out of that category. However, we don't know if it's good or not, right? And so that's kind of the thing. Like, that's the space he can play with. When the game comes out, and if it is good, I would put money on that he would say he was wrong, and it's going to be a good game, and that's something to be excited about and talked about and celebrated, right? But in this space where you run the risk of overhyping a game, and then that, like, okay, sorry that overhyped you, or you run the risk of being, cynical, and that's the thing that adult gamers have that kids don't have, and that's where I think a lot of the generational problems exist online. Kids haven't been playing games long enough to know that sometimes it sucks, and so you'll see them get pre-ordered in and market hyped in to various things, but I'm not seeing a lot of marketing around this game. And I think that's actually a strength. I think that's a good thing. For me, that shows confidence. But I could be wrong because guess what? I'm human, and that's a fact of what we all deal with. Anyway, moving on. Tyler Davis says maybe you should take the full quote instead of clipping half of it, and you should make it sound good. Watched this exact stream, and it was unsurprising that grifters have found a way to take it out of context. I'm not a React channel, by the way. Now, Tyler goes on to apologize, because I basically told him what I'm telling you. I'm not a reaction channel. I'm not going to steal all of his content just so that you watch me and not him. And then I'm just making points that he can't counter to, right? He can react to these videos. We can have these discussions. We've been on podcasts before. However, and that's what I basically respond. It's like I include the link. I encourage people in the videos to go and actually check those out. Maybe I could have done a little bit better and grabbed a couple other clips. But again, as a part of this then balance is trying not to waste anybody's time. Now, this is the comment section. This is a longer form video by engineering and expectations. When you see the purple border on the thumbnail, the more that you come back and check out the content, you'll see the color on the thumbnail and the playlist and the title ideally all have this thing that's trying to communicate to you what you're going to get in the content. But yeah, like that's the thing. Like the solution isn't to go sit here and just take this whole thing, etc. Like you have to make liberties, and the best thing I can always do is encourage people to go check it out. That's why I link to the original source. That's why I link to and tag the source in it, because I'm not sitting here trying to get the thing that annoys me about Twitter or X or whatever it's called is when people don't do the retweet. They do a screen grab and retweet because they don't want to give the original the engagement. It still gets them the engagement. It just makes it more annoying for some of us to go like, hey, what's the real context? And having to click and find it. So I retweet. I'm not doing these picture quote retweets unless for some reason the original poster deleted the thing and I ended up having captured it for discussion. So that's just kind of the case-by-case basis. Now, two last comments before we wrap up today's video. Trace says,
quick.
I was worried about Baldur's Gate 3 sales and marketing when Starfield put out its release date. And I was like, it's going to be a shit show now that Baldur's Gate 3 will and for struggle on the sales. But those madmen at Larian Studios pushed this PC release. And since it's not going to Xbox this year, I'm hyped seeing that sales and I'm hyped to see this game like this could get every year. It's shooters and low-effort sports games. This year was the RPG year. I hope that Starfield also comes out like a boss game with no MT, microtransactions, and we see these kind of games get same damn love again. And I agree.
Two more minutes.
I think that where people might not like Baldur's Gate 3 in terms of the turn-based combat, Starfield might be the ability to pick that torch up, give players the RPG and how it plays out and how they explore the game itself with the action shooter combat, right? That's the thing. People are like, oh, I don't like turn-based games, but I really want to play this game. You should play Baldur's Gate 3. Even if you don't like turn-based games, then maybe I should make a video about that for you guys later today, because I see that pushback quite a bit. And it's like, well, I mean,
I think Baldur's 3 would be
have you
pretty
tried
fun to
it?
play.
Like, I didn't
But
think I was
just
going
so
to
hooked
like
on
X,
BDO
and
right
then it's
now.
like, okay,
It's hard
yeah,
to play
that's
another
great.
game.
Now I
Just
like
don't have
it.
enough time
Cool.
in the day.
But that's just something I want to push back on that front. Now, the idea is
Maybe
that
one
I really
day.
hope Starfield knocks it out of the park. Baldur's Gate 3 knocks it out of the park. This is definitely the year of the RPG. 100% agree. And hopefully, and these things take a long time to make, so hopefully we won't have to wait too much longer. There's still Fable and some other really good games that I'm excited about, down the road. We just don't have dates on those yet. And so we will wait and see. Now, our final comment, I think this is perhaps the most truthful comment. This is the most things. And if you didn't know this, what he's about to say yet, I think it's going to resonate within your soul. So let's go ahead and talk about it. LeBoy is here to change reality, says. The console wars have gone too far. Video games have always been about having fun. Even if the game isn't good, content creators, in quotes, are manipulating their audiences for their own gain. I'm convinced that they know how weak their audiences are, and so that weakness plays into their hands and their bank accounts. Now, I've shared with you guys, if you follow me on Twitter, every month I break down the stats on this channel. And the money in the bank account, it barely covers my editor. And I work with an editor because I love making content. This is just a passion hobby for me. This is not my job. This is something that I get to do. In fact, I work a job, and I'm about to go to work after I finish recording this video. And the reason it ends up being is that I love games. I love talking about games, but there is an absolute problem with the content creation mindset. And a lot of this is driven off of money and people trying to feel like that content creation is their term to success, not realizing that it's a kingmaker system outside of like winning the lottery. The kingmaker system is which that people, the bigger content creators, are just going to steal your content, and there's not much you can really do about it. You're going to thank them at first because you think it's going to be your key to success, but then the more than they react to your content, the less engagement you get, the less growth you get.
Makes sense,
and
I
then you're
guess.
See them growing by gangbusters, and then eventually people are like, "Oh, I'm not going to watch your video, but I can't wait till Asmon or so and so reacts to it." And then you're like, "Wait, what's going on?" Like there's something there's a problem within the space, and hopefully it continues to get better. That's why I make the other videos that I hope you go check out after this one, because that would be phenomenal. But content creators are a problem. They are. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's why it's important to be held accountable and to do the best.
All right, not bad.
I don't
not
think
bad.
Mono is a problem. I don't think Say No to Rage, aka Reforge Gaming, is a problem and at all. Like, he's just a dude who loves video games and has opinions on those, and he has built something I think
21,
great, a place where these can be discussed. And this is a part of that process, that encouragement where people can take the content, what he says, and turn it into content, and then that can evolve the conversation. There's the other side of it too, right? Like the expectation versus the reality of it all. I don't expect him to all of a sudden sit here and say, you know what, PlayStation sucks. And I don't think PlayStation does suck. I think some of the things they do are shitty. I think some of their business practices are awful. I think they're playing an old game. I think PlayStation represents the old way. And I think the new way has been established, and more people who experience that, especially experience that. What do you mean, cloud? I can play this game on cloud at 120 frames per second, but my Series X or my PlayStation 5 can do 30? Because we talked a lot about Xbox, but the same
788 million.
There's plenty of games that aren't
not bad.
What the console is targeting, because every game is different.
Save.
There's no 1-to-1 ratio on it. But yes, there's bad content creators out there. There's good. Some people think I'm a bad content creator. Some people think I'm great. The internet's going to have no lack of opinions, and I think that's a good thing. But the encouragement, the thing that we have to do, and the thing I do as a part of practice, is to dive in and try and seek that understanding, to learn from you guys and what y'all think, to highlight comments that don't like what I have to say, and to highlight comments that do, because...
All right. Good stuff, good stuff. That entails 1 hour at Orcs. So, hope y'all have a good night and a good day tomorrow. And I'm going to peace out because I am extremely tired. So, peace out, YouTube. Hope y'all have a good night.